Okay, now we're going to be looking at the perpetual weighted average method under a perpetual inventory system. Okay, weighted average. So weighted average means that every time we make a sale or a purchase, we're going to put our inventory together and combine it and run a weighted average of what the cost is, so we always only have a single layer of inventory based on the weighted average of what our purchase price was. So again, January 1st, we have our beginning inventory, same thing we've had in the past. On January 4th, we made a sale. That really isn't going to change either because I only have the one layer of inventory. So $7,000, $20 per unit. Gives me $14,000. I have 300 left. $20 per unit. And so now I have $6,000 worth of inventory left. Now, January 10th, here's where it gets a little bit more interesting, where the weighted average, we're actually running these numbers continuously every time we make a purchase. So on January 10th, I bought 500 units at a cost of $22.40 per unit for a total cost of $11,200. Now, what I need to do over here in inventory is rather than show separate layers like I did in the past, I need to show a single layer and show a single weighted average number for my unit cost. When we say weighted average, we're talking about a weighted average based on the quantity that we have. So we have two layers right now. We have the 300 layer at $20 each for a total of $6,000. This is my oldest layer. Not that it really matters in the weighted average system, but the oldest layer and the newest layer, because we're just going to run an average of it anyways. Our new layer of what we just bought was $500 at a cost of $22.40 per unit and a total cost of $11,200. So here's all the inventory that I have. To run an average, all I need to do is add up the total units. This is my units, and add up the total cost. Add up the total cost, and then divide the two numbers. So my weighted average cost for this 800 units is going to be $17,200 divided by 800, which gets me $21.50. So over here, I can now just simply put 800 units at 21.5, and should multiply that and get 17.2. So really, it is still the total of these two, but the difference is now that I've run a weighted average, now when I make a sale, I can just use that one single layer of the weighted average number, and it just kind of makes everything a little bit easier and smoother. It is a little additional math to do each time, but it does make it easier not having to worry about pull from different layers. So for example, on January 22nd, I sold 360 units. Easy enough. Don't have multiple layers. It's all for $21.50 because I only have a single weighted average layer. For $77.40 for my total. And then I have 800 units minus the 360, still an average of $21.50. And my total cost is $94.60. The next sale will be pretty much the same thing. I sold 240. My average cost is still $21.50 because I haven't bought any additional yet. And so now my inventory is 440 minus 240 times 21.50 again, because my weighted average hasn't moved. 4,300. Now, my last purchase, January 30th, I purchased 600 units at $23.30 per unit for a total cost of $13,980. Now, I don't want to have two layers because I'm running a weighted average instead, so I need to go back down here and do what I did before and run a weighted average. Rather than well, actually, I'll just do this. Run a new weighted average. Just copy this to make sure I don't have to type so much. So my new one is based on, I have 200 units, $21.50 each, and I have 600 units at $23.30 each. So I got this is this layer here, this is this layer here. I ran a total, at a total cost, and then divide 18,280 by 800 to get 2285. So I can have my total number of units times 22.85 to get my total cost of 18,280. And I went ahead and left these in here like I had on the prior to get my total ending inventory. And again, if I add my ending inventory and my total cost of goods sold, I'll get the same number that I got for both of my LIFO and FIFO perpetual methods. And it really wouldn't matter which method I used because we're using the same facts. And that is a weighted average under the perpetual inventory method.